Alright everyone, it's time to talk about drag queen gaslighting currently going on. People pretending that it's a gender identity. People pretending that everyone had to stick up their ass about drag performances prior to the discovery that they were beginning to involve small children. I look at this as very similar to CRT, critical race theory. Nobody really cared even if they knew critical race theory, which is based on Marxism, self-refutes, and is full of shit. Nobody had a problem when it was being taught by ivory tower professors at Harvard or Yale to a crowd of people that at least are adults. Nobody cares about that. You've signed up for the course, or you didn't. You made that choice. You went there and you paid money to go to a university or a college or whatever. You got this woke professor with pink hair back in 1999, and they're telling you commie bullshit. Well, it may not actually be education. It may be a pile of baloney, but you're voluntarily doing that. It's not taxpayer funded, although it is taxpayer subsidized in some cases. That's a separate issue that we do have to address at some point. It's different, though, when you try to teach Marxist revisionism to school children, where there's compulsory attendance, taxpayer funding, the teachers are government workers de facto. That's entirely different. Nobody, myself included, and I can go back, I can probably prove this, the videos are probably still fucking there. Back in the 2000s, I remember the hubbub from the Mel Gibson crowd about how the colleges are woke, the colleges are teaching communism. And one of the things I'm thinking of is, well, it's not tax funded. You go to the course or you don't. You may have to memorize the commie nonsense for a test, but you don't have to inculcate it as a belief. There is peer pressure, especially to the professors sometimes, but like I went to college, it didn't make me a commie. Over that period of time, I became less liberal, actually, and that was because I'm intelligent enough to realize that Obama was leading us in the wrong direction. Clearly, I had been sold a pig in a poke, and the fact that I hated George W. and the neocons and the warmongering and shit like that and the Jesus did not move me in the direction of becoming far left. If anything, it made me more libertarian, because I'm like, well, this government is consistently abusive under both parties. Maybe we should reduce its size and scope so that it can abuse us less. Oh, classical liberalism. Well, that's basically the trajectory of my politics. But it wasn't a problem. You're teaching college kids. They're adults. They have the right to go to that course. They can not attend if they don't want to. They just step out of class anytime. How are you going to punish them? Well, in a school, of course, you can get a detention or something. Does that happen in colleges? Nope. If you want to walk out of the class without disrupting it, professor can't do jack shit other than maybe say, hey, where are you going? They can't punish you for that. Well, they can, but, typically they don't do that. The same is true with drag. Over the years, I like it when they were trying to attack that one Republican, was it a representative or something, for having been in drag back in the 70s at a sports game or the 80s at a sports game. And what I pointed out is, yeah, of course, people have been dressing in drag since a long, long time ago. All it is a performance art. It's not a gender identity. Not every drag performer is gay, and most gay people don't do drag, for example. There is an overlap there, but it's not a complete overlap by any means. It's not a gender identity. It's not protected. It is a performance art. I could dress up as a woman and go dancing around. I'm performing in drag. That doesn't make me gay, and it doesn't mean I've taken up some sort of protected gender identity. It is a performance art. It's like saying that if you dress up in blackface and do a little shuck and jive minstrel show, the Watermelon Shuffle or something, that all of a sudden you have become black and you're part of a protected racial identity. That's basically what it boils down to. It's fucking baloney. Nobody cared, though. Goddamn, Rudy Giuliani dressed in drag in a bit for CPAC or something years and years ago with Donald Trump in it, no less. And it was humorous. That's the whole comedic foil. It's a performance art. It is also explicitly sexualized. You cannot parse drag and the 6-inch heels, the stuffed bra, the twerking, the gyrating around, etc. You cannot parse that from femininity, because that's the whole comedic foil. The idea is the man is acting as a hyperbolic stereotype of women. Sort of like a minstrel show is a white person giving a hyperbolic stereotype of a black person. They don't just put blackface on. They have the patch suit and the soft-soled shoes and the top hat, and they sing in ebonics and they dance around and they do things that are black-like according to the stereotypes that were held in the Uncle Remus era. That's what it is all about. That's the reason why it's considered a performing art. It's one that's rarely done anymore, unlike drag, which is openly promulgated as a form of progress, even though it is literally rooted in misogyny. It is men making fun of women. Women's rights, though, is now a far-right theme, so I'm not surprised they're promoting it. But that's all well and good. I don't care. I've seen drag footage and shit. I don't give a fuck. I'm not going to go to the strip club to see the drag show, but it doesn't offend me. Until children are involved. It is overtly and explicitly sexualized. Reading books to kids that are explicitly sexualized with or without the drag queen present is unacceptable in a taxpayer-funded situation. If you want your kids to learn about butt plugs, which, it's not helpful, it's not a good idea, but if you are into that sort of weird shit, it's at the public library. It's, until recently, it's been in the school library, though. And in some cases, it's given out by the teacher. That's even worse. If it's just sitting there in the school library, I don't know, it falls under gubernatorial purview more than anything else. I consider it unethical, but it may not be outright illegal, depending on state law involved with the educational process. But certainly, a teacher giving that pornographic material to kids is wrong. Now, if an adult wants to read it, or a teenager goes to the public library and checks it out and wants to read it, with or without their parents knowing or something, then they're going to do that. They're teens. They're good at hiding things. That doesn't bother me. It's not being taxpayer funded. It's not being coerced by an adult. It's not some groomer talking to them. That's fine. Same with drag. Take it to the strip club for the 18 plus show, or 21 plus, so people will actually enjoy the performance. Get them loaded a little bit. You'll get more, Benji Green stuffed in your underwear next to your bulge or whatever. Next to your dildo, or dildos. That's fine. It's adults. If they want to go to the drag show and, be misogynistic or whatever, that's perfectly all right. Where are all of the women's rights activists, by the way, to call this out? Because other than J.K. Rowling and a few others, thank you, Kat, other than a few of them, most of them don't even touch the issue. I think that they're just afraid of being censored. But of course, after 15 years of content creation, I just don't give a fuck at this point. I'm just calling it how I see it. Drag is not a protected gender identity. It's not a gender at all. It is a performance art. It's fine for adults. Don't give a shit. Go ahead and watch as many drag shows as you want. Go do rails of coke off the Dragqueens dildo. I don't care. You're an adult. You're not 12 years old. Taxpayers aren't funding the Drag Queen Story Hour where the creepy dude sings to the kids about penises or whatever. That doesn't need to be happening. It's the same with critical race theory. Ivory Tower professor wants to lie to people and talk about how Karl Marx was a genius and Martin Luther King was kind of a loser because he didn't push for reparations for slavery. That's fine. You want to be wonky on your own time, on your own dime? That's cool. We should go after the endowments maybe. Maybe that would solve the issue, but they won't do that because they're pussies. But it shouldn't be happening to minors in a taxpayer-funded setting. Private school wants to do that. The parents have the right to pull them out and put them in a different school. It's fine too. Homeschooling. You got commie parents. Commie parents want to teach you commie math where 1 + 1 = 3. Well, the kid will grow up completely stupid, but that's fine. That's okay. Kind of child abuse when you think about it, but there's no current law against it, unfortunately. That's okay. You can also teach your kids just straight from the Bible if you want to in that setting, or have a religious school or something, but you don't need that in a publicly funded school. Why? Because the separation of church and state. What we need is a separation of fucking stupidity in state. The problem being we'd have no politicians left, now would we? That's about all. Peace out.